Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Par Chasers. If you haven't seen the first two videos, go ahead and give those a view. The first one was about my entire simulator build here in my garage. The second video was about my golf hitting mat, which is fiber built. Today's video is going to be all about the SkyTrak simulator system. Now we have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Okay, so the first item is the iPad and Wi-Fi setup for the SkyTrak unit. So when you actually receive the SkyTrak unit, it does recommend 6 hours of charge before using it for the first time. I actually got really excited when UPS dropped this off, and when I found this out, I was pretty bummed out that I would have to wait to the following day since UPS dropped this off at around 7 p.m. So just be aware of this when you actually get it for the first time, that it does need 6 hours of charge before you use it for the first time. Now, when I was setting up my SkyTrak the following day, it took me hours to get my device from direct mode to network mode. Network mode is where everything will connect to your home's Wi-Fi and let you actually use the unit for hitting balls. Well, what I came to find out during this lengthy process is because my home's Wi-Fi password had a symbol in it, the SkyTrak apparently does not recognize symbols. So when you are attempting to connect in network mode and you are typing a symbol on your SkyTrak, it will not recognize, it will not connect via network mode. I even was chatting with SkyTrak about this, and even they did not know how to fix this problem I was having with connecting to network mode. It was only after spending a lot of time digging through Reddit channels that I actually found my answer. So then when I changed my password to something that did not have any symbols or capitalizations, it did work instantly at that point. The worst part about all of this is if you have a lot of devices that are connected to your home's Wi-Fi, you are going to have to reconnect all of those devices, and that was not fun at all. Now, as far as using an iPad compared to a PC, I imagine the PC would run a lot smoother than the iPad, but I really love the overall look of just having a tablet here in this area. Now, I do occasionally have troubles with Wi-Fi connection because the device and iPad is in my garage and kind of away from my modem and router. So what I'm going to invest in soon is a Google Mesh system, which I linked below. And this will allow me to only connect my iPad and SkyTrak to this Google router or modem. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, this probably would have been a better idea to do right away, because then you will not have to reconnect all of your existing Wi-Fi connections. So for the level and alignment settings, as you can see on my screen on the bottom right here, I actually didn't know about this at first, but these settings are clearly very, very important in getting accurate numbers for your SkyTrak unit. So here you can see it'll tell you the roll and the tilt, so both of mine are perfect right now. But I'd like to talk about everything that I did to get my numbers as accurate as they are. And I'm not talking about roll and tilt necessarily. I'm talking about really the numbers that I'm generating with my clubs when I'm hitting balls. Because at first, my yardages, they were roughly about 20 to 30 yards short with my irons. So the first item you want to address is if you have the protective case, you actually have to screw everything together and attach the level piece on the top. As you can see, mine is very level. Everything is very tight and secured. That little bubble is on the top, in between that little circle on top. But everything is really secured. You can see that metal case is completely surrounding that. So, if any kind of shots hit that, it'll be really protected. But that's the first thing you want to do when you get your SkyTrak out of the box. And hopefully you got this protective case. It is really important and well worth the investment there. Second item here is to not put your SkyTrak unit on the hitting mat itself. Originally, I actually had a different hitting mat and placed my SkyTrak unit on the hitting mat itself. And what resulted in that was the unit actually kept moving when we were hitting shots. It was just vibrating a little bit, not a lot, but enough to give really inaccurate readings. They say if the unit vibrates really at all, it won't provide really accurate numbers, which I found to be very, very true in this situation. So what I did to combat not having my SkyTrak unit on a hitting mat is I actually bought a different hitting mat. I bought a new mat for two reasons really. The first is because the first mat I bought gave me some pain in my wrists and arms almost immediately because of the poor quality and lack of cushioning on fatter shots. You can learn more about this mat in my previous video, but that fire-built mat is linked below, and it's what you can see right here. But the most important thing I did is I created a base for my SkyTrak unit, which is right here. Now, I really just kind of used some 2x4s that I had laying around the house, and then just simply spray painted everything when that was complete. All I used was a nail gun to get all those pieces together, but now the SkyTrak unit really remains in the same spot the entire time. It doesn't move at all. It doesn't feel any vibrations when we're hitting. I also added some side pieces, as you can see right here, and this really keeps the SkyTrak unit from not moving at all. It is permanently stationed in that spot, and I did put some tape here as well, just in case if it does move, or I have to move it because I'm vacuuming or something, I know exactly where to put it when I have to put it back. Okay, so that was part one of how to, make your SkyTrak unit as accurate as possible for your distances, involving, kind of what mat to get, as well as, how to build a base station for your SkyTrak unit itself. But the next part I want to talk about is the alignment mode, which is located here at the top right. So all you have to do is press that on button, and when alignment mode is on, you're going to see a couple of red dots on the floor in front of the SkyTrak unit. Okay, so now with alignment mode on, you could see those two red dots. Usually only the one red dot is there when you're hitting balls, but with the alignment mode, you can see two red dots appear. Now that one could go away, it turns off after about 30 seconds, but I want to just point this out because of this fiber built mat and these alignment rods that just kind of go into it for you for practicing. It lines up perfectly with that white line with my Spornia hitting mat. So, I mean, you could tell right away, red dot to red dot, alignment rod to white line to target. Everything just works out so perfectly that you can really set this up. See, it went away. You can really set this up so it is as accurate as possible for you when hitting balls. So right now, I actually took the flight deck out of the fiber built because the grass is a little bit longer, so the red dot's not great, but I know it's right in the middle. But you can see it's right in the middle of that. So when I put the flight deck back in, it actually lists it kind of up higher, but I know that it's actually right in the middle. And because of that, because of creating this base that's even with the fiber built flight deck, and I know that everything is lining up with my Spornia hitting net, it's honestly just so perfect now. And I highly, highly suggest these products just of how accurate you're making the readings. I feel like if you're going to use something else, you might have to kind of like put, maybe wooden planks or a measuring tape down. But now with this, if anything removes, I'm going to know it's going to be off right away, rather than kind of, measuring things out all the time to see if it's accurate. So that's how that looks. Let me know if you have any questions regarding this setup. So on a final note about the level and alignment mode, I really believe implementing these items provided me with really accurate numbers and ball flights. So I really suggest you implementing these as well if you already have a SkyTrak, or you plan on getting a SkyTrak, or if you plan on building a simulator room like I did from scratch. Even with these few shots I hit, prior to me making these changes that I talked about, these would have came in probably 20 to 30 yards less than they are right now. So I was honestly really disappointed at first with how inaccurate my numbers were, and I thought the unit was just not worth the money. But with these fixes, I honestly couldn't be happier, and it is really, truly very accurate. So with these changes in place, your SkyTrak unit and base might still move from time to time. I know I have a big crazy dog, and sometimes he might just run into it. And you might clean around it. So always fall back on checking your level and alignment mode, putting down tape around so you know where to put it back, just so you can ensure everything is perfect while you are practicing moving forward. So the SkyTrak has two subscription options, which are the Game Improvement and the Play and Improve subscription. Both of these are annual, and they're actually located here on their website under Plans. So the first one here is the Game Improvement subscription. This costs $99.95 per year. This is what I chose to go with because it gives you access to all of the modes on the SkyTrak system, which are basically all meant for practice, which includes the bag mapping, skills assessment, and the practice randomizer. The second option here is the Play and Improve annual subscription, which costs just a little bit shy of $200 per year. This gives you access to everything in the Game Improvement subscription, plus WGT by Topgolf, which basically allows you to play on 15 golf courses. Now, some of the reviews I read about WGT by Topgolf are decent. The graphics are a lot better than E6 in my opinion, but the biggest downfall by far is that WGT by Topgolf is single player only. So you can't have buddies over and all play around together. This is only going to be able to be played by yourself. And this alone steered me away from this subscription option and WGT altogether. Now, E6, which is basically the competing software for SkyTrak, in my opinion, E6 does allow for local play with friends, and it is something I did end up going with initially. However, they are having major problems right now with random disconnects, and the graphics are really just not great for how much they are charging you for E6. So I will say they actually are planning a huge update later this year where the graphics are going to be immensely better. And when that happens, I will probably repurchase E6. But until then, I'll just stick with the modes that I purchased with a Game Improvement subscription. And then whenever E6 updates all their graphics and improves their connection, I'll go back to that as well. So when you log into the SkyTrak app, you have three choices presented to you: practice, challenge, and game improvement. I am here in practice mode, which is your basic driving range. However, within it, you can look at your shot history, your shot plotting. Now, I plan to use this heavily in future videos to show differences between golf balls and equipment. And you also have a numeric display, a shot optimizer, and a section for choosing your session settings. Now, I hit about 13 shots here already. So up here at the top right, if you press this little menu option, here is where you can look at your shot history. So I hit about 13 balls. It gives you an average of ball speed, launch, backspin, side spin, offline, carry, roll, total, how long it's in the flight, the height, your club miles per hour. And if you select all of these, select all, you can then look at your shot plotting to kind of see where those ended up. So really cool features, but you get a ton of data. You could also delete some of them here on the right-hand side. So if you just have a bad shot and you're really trying to get a good average of your distances, a lot of customization is able to be kept here. And then if I press this X button, here's the numeric display. So that's the previous shot that I just hit. So a lot of different numbers right here. And here's the shot optimizer, which tells a lot of good information as well. So that is the practice mode with all the different kind of settings in the menu option. The second mode is the challenge mode. Now the first selection is closest to the pin, as you can see here on the left-hand side. Now my friends and I use this one quite frequently because it is quick and really fun regardless of handicap. Now once in closest to the pin, you can choose single player, multiplayer, or event. We mostly choose multiplayer, which is up to 6 people. Now from that point, you can choose the amount of shots per round. Here I could just kind of put in some players really quickly. So from here you can choose, if they're righty or lefty. And then you're able to choose how many shots per round, your shot order, scoring mode. So if you want, the top score, which is basically whoever's closest at the end. Or you can do cumulative, so it just adds up all the distances. And then you could play from a lot of different distances, really from 10 yards all the way up to 300 yards. We try to keep it around 60 yards to make it a little bit more fun. But then when you press start game, it will tell you who's up in order. So it's a really great format. Really fun, really quick, and allows for really all types of golfers to play in this mode. The next option here in challenge mode is target practice. Now target practice is pretty much very similar to closest to the pin, except this time it's more of a kind of like a Top Golf kind of feel. So if I put in just some random guess here again, alrighty. Same thing applies, so you could choose how many shots per round, shot order. Scoring mode is just cumulative, and then you could put the distance to the bullseye center. And then from there, there's 3 different scores. I believe it's 100 points for like 10 yards, and then 75 points, and then 50 points or 25 points. So it's pretty fun. It's a little bit different, very similar to closest to the pin, except now, it's just based on points. On the top, you can see 100 points, 50 points, 25 points. And then on the target size, you could choose easy, medium, or hard for those targets. Then the final option here in challenge mode is longest drive. All the settings are basically going to be the same. Within longest drive, you could choose single player, multiplayer, or event. If we choose multiplayer once again, and just choose 3 people and press next, once again righty or lefty. Here same thing, shot per round, shot order, scoring mode. The only thing different here is you can choose the difficulty of the range width, which is easy, medium, or hard, and then all you need to do is press start game and fire away. So the last mode here in SkyTrak is the game improvement mode. Now within game improvement, you have bag mapping, skills assessment, and the wedge matrix. Bag mapping is really great for figuring out an average distance you hit each club that is personalized to your bag. Now you can see here I actually didn't do this yet, but I do plan on tackling this soon. But on the left hand side, you have a lot of different settings to choose from. This is actually really helpful for me as I'm starting to look at investing in new wedges and woods and really just trying to figure out, what my yardages are constantly, so it could really help me out on the course. For skills assessment, this is simply setting 10 different yardages and trying to hit those yardages with a certain shot allotment. You can mix a wide range of different distances and clubs, so this can be really fun and helpful for coming up with different ways to hit different distances with different clubs. So you can choose from 10 different yardages right here on the left hand side. You have a select preset, dominant hand, number of targets, shots per target, and the number of shots you want selected from those shots per target. So for example, if maybe we're gonna go with 10 shots per target, but we only want the 5 best shots calculated for this skills assessment training. All right, final option on the SkyTrak is wedge matrix. So we'll wait till this for this to load. Okay, so on the screen, as you can see, you will use 4 different swing lengths for each club, and when finished, you can choose the matrix out on the course to help you choose the best club and swing length combo for any given shot. I personally love this mode, and I use it quite often. On the course, you really have to have a lot of different shots in your bag to succeed in a lot of different situations. And knowing how to hit similar distances with different clubs is really, really valuable in my opinion, and could really assist with lowering your handicap. So that is the final mode on here within SkyTrak. So once again, if we exit this and go back to the main menu, we have practice mode, challenge mode, and game improvement, and all different kind of selections within the 3 of those. So hopefully you enjoyed learning about the different modes. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Okay everyone, so that was a lot of information on the SkyTrak, and I want to end this video with talking about some pros and cons of the SkyTrak unit. At least the pros and cons that I have so far with owning this unit for roughly a month or 2 so far. So we're going to start with the pros. Now number 1 by far is the location of the SkyTrak unit itself. The fact that I can put the unit right in front of the golf ball leaves me so much more room to swing, especially in my kind of small area here in my garage. Compared to other units like the Garmin or the Flight Scope, the real benefit here, and the reason I went with the SkyTrak unit, is because I can put it right in front of me while I'm swinging. Now the second pro is, in my opinion, the customer service. I reached out to them many times so far, and they respond to you within a minute. They're really helpful. They provide a lot of information or places to go if you need help, but the fact that someone responds to me in little under a minute and is actually a human is really, really important to me. So that's definitely a very high pro for SkyTrak. Number 3 is the practice options. So within the different modes that they have, I feel there's so many benefits of this unit and the modes that they created to really help you improve your game. Whether it's just using the driving range, to find different distances, or even warming up before a round, they really did a really good job. But the other modes, that the fact that you can constantly keep a book of yardages for all of your clubs, and helping you with different swing lengths and finding out different distances that different swings make, or your shot plotting is really cool and helpful. And I could see my handicap and game improving tremendously because of these pros and the game improvement options that they have. So now I want to talk about the cons. Now, like I mentioned in earlier videos, on the SkyTrak unit, I had so much trouble at first getting this perfect the way it is now. Now, hopefully, if you're deciding to purchase a SkyTrak, and if you purchase it, please use the videos and the advice that I provided, because it really helped me get these numbers to where they are. I mean, at first, I was having to put the elevation at like 8,000 meters or something crazy like that to get the distances close. Now I have the elevation at 0 and the numbers are absolutely perfect. But the first con is the SkyTrak unit just kind of randomly disconnects. I don't know why, but I'll usually have to shut down the app and reload the app. it may only take like 30 seconds, but it's just kind of annoying that it randomly disconnects for no reason. It's probably because the Wi-Fi isn't that great in the garage. So I do plan on getting another modem and having that specifically in the garage and only connecting the SkyTrak unit to that. So that should really help that con. Second con is that it can't be placed directly on the hitting mat. So this really limits the choices you have for a hitting mat. At first I chose a mat that basically covered the entire area, and I had the SkyTrak on that mat. But with the vibrations I was getting with certain shots and the mat actually just moving because of your swing and hitting fatter shots, the distances were severely off because of that. So I had to get rid of that mat, and I went with the fire built. So then the SkyTrak unit itself can actually be off of the mat. But then because of the fire built mat being a little bit higher, I then had to create a base for the SkyTrak unit. So like I mentioned in previous videos here, a lot of work went into making these numbers perfect, but it is a little bit disappointing that it can't be on the mat itself. Now, maybe if you wanted like just one big hitting mat, you could probably like maybe cut a hole or something, but I would recommend going with something like a fiber built mat to help you with that con. And then the third item here is really just a lack of playing options. This is really, I believe, meant for practicing and getting certain distances and helping you with your swing. But as far as like playing, you really only have, the target practice and the closest to the pin. There's no options to play courses on here or anything like that. It's really only the modes that I talked about in the last video there. So I would give that the only con. There are apps out there that will integrate to the SkyTrak, but I think SkyTrak does such a good job with the modes that they created. It'd be awesome if they actually decided to do courses to play, because I think it would be a lot better than E6 and Top Golf right now, which are basically your two options. So those are the cons, those are the pros. Let me know if you have any questions regarding the pros or the cons. Okay, that was a super long video, but that is really everything on SkyTrak and all the work that I put into making this unit as perfect as I possibly can. If you have any questions regarding anything that we talked about today, please let me know. Happy to answer really any question to help you create a simulator setup like I have here in my garage. But I'll look forward to seeing you all in future videos, but I'll see y'all later.